past several months, what have you learned about your defense?
Experience. A lot of guys played a lot of football for either us or somewhere else. So it's easy to adapt when we're trying to make changes with our scheme. So that's the one thing that stood out. And then, the ability to play together in a short period of time. I think these guys are meshing together like real quick. So shows that how mature they are as a group. So that's what I see.
That's a relatively new phenomenon in college football because of the transfer portal. What are the challenges that are inherent in kind of bringing the group together in a short period of time?
I think it's the scheme they come from. I think you got to study exactly when you're recruiting a kid. You got to look at what they're doing. Does it fit what we're doing? So those are the things we looked at when we're recruiting all the guys that came in here. So and it makes it easier when they come from a system like our system. We're zone D defense, a little bit of man. So it's easy for them to adapt.
Johnny, when you look at that safety battle you got going on, what's going to be the defining factor for the guys that are able to be at the top of that list for you?
The ability to execute, understanding. The one thing about it is our offense, they give us so many different looks. So I think our guys are really prepared, with the Coach Akina and Chuck back there. They really prepare them to handle all these shifts in motion that you're seeing in college football, formation to the boundary, unbalanced. I think that's what you're going to look for. And then ability, who's going to make plays? We want to, like I said, the best guy's going to play. And I like the guys that we have back there.
Do you envision rotating at that spot in the first game?
A little bit, but not much, especially back there, because the communication part of it, they got to mesh.
You talked about adding size in the offseason. How do you make sure that's not just adding size for the sake of size? And is this something that fans who go to the game on Saturday are going to immediately see when the team's on?
You're just talking about the size of our defensive players?
300 pounds is just the fact we weren't big enough last year.
Yeah, I think that's what you're going to see. You're going to see two nose guards that are 320-plus pounds. You're going to see three techniques that are 300 pounds. We didn't have that many body mass, last year to give us an opportunity to play the run better. So that's what you're going to see. Linebackers that are a little bit bigger. Safeties are, Genesis are big safeties. Our corners are big. So, college football is heading that way.
Brennan, Jed said Jordan Morgan is good to go. Do you anticipate him being able to play the whole game?
Yeah, he'll be ready to play the whole game.
Okay. If you need a backup for that, who's the guy that would be
the next tackle would be Joe Borjan. He's done a fantastic job, all really from spring to fall. Big old guy that Johnny found for me. No, he's been fantastic. He's done a great job. He came in as a little lacked some conditioning, would you say? But he's done a fantastic job. He's as strong as he's ever been.
And is Polito set to be the right guard?
Yeah.
How's that worked?
It's been great. Wendell, who's starting over the left side, he came in at the same time. He needed to get in a little bit of shape last year to get him ready to go. Ray came in great shape, ready to go, ready to learn the system. And, if we hadn't have done this last year, maybe we'd have a little bit of anxiety about playing a young guy. But, it's just kind of how we do it right now. So.
Michael Wiley categorized Jonah, Jordan, and Wendell as walking first-round picks. As a guy that worked in the NFL, what categorizes them to be able to be put in such a conversation?
There's a talent level there for sure. Those guys can move around like crazy. But really the hard part is, when we talk about this, is about being a professional, being able to not just handle the on-the-field things, but be able to handle yourself off the field. And those guys have done fantastic. And take a look at Jordan and his rehab and what he's had to do to get back in this kind of really 9-month frame. He's done his rehab as well as I've ever seen it. Just in terms of staying on track, for a big guy in ACL, it's tough to get back, and he did a fantastic job with it. So those guys have all carried themselves properly. Jonah's a fantastic leader, and he's been there since he's really got there last spring, I guess it was. So we're just excited about these guys, and it'll be fun to see them out there running around a little bit.
How did he become a co-captain so soon?
I think he's an unbelievable kid, man. He brings passion, and everybody feeds off of him. I think he has earned the team's respect this summer. He was always out there, coming in early, stay late, and I think the team is really, responding really well to him. And then obviously he's playing on all special teams. If you look at our scrimmage, he never came off all phase, 4 phases of special team and defense. So it's just a lot about a kid like Irby.
Yeah. With the linebacker battle with Daniel and Justin?
Everybody's going to play. I mean, right now, Daniel and Manu, you're going to see Justin's in there. You're going to see, Tay Brown. You're going to see, Kamo in there. So there's situations that those guys are going to play.
Brennan, I know you don't like talking about years past with the offensive line, but just seeing the transformation from year one to this season, can you just talk a little bit about the groundwork that you guys have been able to do?
Yeah, we've kind of built it, from both ways. A couple of kids that were here in the program and have been through the tough times, Baker and Jordan, obviously, and then bringing some, new talent, new blood, to kind of meld those two groups together and really, combine, the old with the new, and they've been great leaders, been great kids. It's really, we're lucky to have, we got great kids. They'll do whatever we ask them on really both sides of the ball. Just great kids, great team. You talk about Irby, we can fill him on offense. I think we've done a really good job, as the players have done a good job, of, not just being in their little cliques and becoming great teammates and, cross-pollinating a little bit and getting to know each other and love each other. And hopefully we see it on the field Saturday.
Coach Brennan, for Coach Nansen, has anybody mentioned the NAU loss 2 years ago inside the room? Obviously, Jed was asked about it yesterday. 80% of the team probably wasn't here. Has you heard it mentioned at all once in the last few days?
I don't know. Johnny wasn't here, so he didn't have to deal with it. But it's 2022. We talked about. We're not talking about 2021, so we're not going to talk about it in 2023. It really hasn't been a mention. No one's talked of it. We know what we're going up against. This is a good football team, and they're going to bring their best stuff, and they got a lot to prove too. So our guys are prepared. There'll be no letdown. We're ready to rock.
How do you personally reflect on that night?
Nope. I'll give you something. It was a very difficult night to be a part of, be on that staff. But it really showed, how far we had to go, and, that we weren't really ready to win yet. We weren't ready, to be a good football team, and it took a while. It's going to take a process. It's not, something you can snap your fingers and fix. And looking back on that and to see how far we've come, there's a little bit of, there's a little bit of hope. So,
For either of you or both, what do you tell the guys who get designated to the scout team who've been fighting for spots all summer long so that they don't view it as some sort of a demotion or negative?
No doubt. Jacob Manu and Wendell Moy, those two guys started on the scout team, and they wound up starting games for us and being crucial elements to our team. And they could be that story. These guys have, Jacob Manu came in, undersized, kind of, just part of the program, and he wound up being a star for us last year. Wendell's, gone from a guy no one recruited, no one heard of, and now he was on the scout team, and Johnny called them and say, get him off scout team. I'm like, cool, you could have Manu back. Like, we're just sick of hitting those guys hitting us. And so that's the goal, is go down there, work your craft, work your technique. We try to cross over, I think, as much as we can in terms of scheme, so they're still able to learn somewhat and use the techniques that we've taught them as much as we can. There's a couple looks when you can't do that, but so that they can keep developing and keep growing. So they're great examples.
The games this past weekend to see how the new clock rules might affect what you're trying to do as far as getting players in and out of the field.
Yeah, we talked about it, with a lot of these teams now, not even us, we're going up tempo, so we got to be able to control it with substitution and all that. So that's what we've been, really looking into.
Is it a matter of when a guy comes off the field that he gets his quick water or whatever, but then has to be right next to you?
It all depends. If they sub, we want to sub. So we got to, coordinate how we're going to sub. A lot of, back in the days, when they sub, we try to sub 4 guys. Well, we got to be smart with it, and take our time getting on the field so we can get our guys off the field.
If they don't sub, what are the other situations in which you can sub defensively? It's dependent on where the ball is.
Dead ball, right? When the ball, the incomplete pass, they allow you to sub then, right? But if they don't, they're going fast. There's nothing we could do. We just got to give them a call and let them play. And that's the beauty of our system here. You know, our sandstorm is designed to be that way. There might be an opportunity where there's going to be 8-play drive, you know, where you can't come out. So our guys are trained, you know, for those situations if that happens.
Johnny, you mentioned about Justin Flo kind of playing in the system, controlled in the system. How do you think he developed that throughout training camp, and where is he right now?
He's been great. He's been great right now. You know, him and Daniel are sharing time with the ones. I think you're going to see the same thing Saturday. To answer your question, that's what you're going to see.
Johnny, when you say in the essence of the sandstorm, your guys are trained, is that you know, in terms of their wellness to be able to last that many plays, or is it just a scheme thing?
No, to be able to last those 8 plays and be able to focus and still, you know, execute their assignment when it's, you know, in a situation where you're going 8 plays. I'm going to tell you now, I've been in that situation as a player. It is hard, you know, so unless you practice, whether you're ones on ones and twos, you're not going to get that, you know, from our scout team. So that's why it's so awesome what we do here with Jed, and he's done a great job preparing us for all these situations with our guys. So that's, you know, that's the whole focus on the drill.
Johnny, you guys were able to force 6 more turnovers in the 2021 team. How do you keep improving on making sure that you get the ball back and put your offense in advantageous positions?
Every day we talk about it. Our program is the ball drills, you know, and plays are designed to go after the football. So our guys are clicked that way. Their mind is that way, you know. So every day in meetings we're going to show turnovers, how to go about creating turnovers or takeaways. So that's just part of our program.
Is the turnover sword back?
Yes, sir.
What kind of reaction did you get from the turnover sword last year?
The kids love it, and then all of a sudden the Mississippi State game, it got, you know, everybody started talking about it because we were stabbing balls. I wasn't even paying attention. I was worried about calling the defense, you know, and then I saw one of the student assistants running across, and then one of our managers was tackling him on the sideline. I'm like, what the heck is going on there? Like, you guys are stabbing the ball. I'm like, well, I don't know what's going on. So I like it.
Is the first, for either one of you again, is the first game the most difficult one to prepare for in terms of the X's and O's and so forth? Because so many transfers nowadays, and you may or may not have carryover with coaches. You may not have film on the quarterback you're going to face.
Yeah, there's a balance to that. Both programs, you know, all in the first game, all have to deal with that. You know, who's going to go out there, which personnels they're going to see. So it's a balancing effect on both sides. But really, it's almost the buildup being, you know, months away, and then you're playing one game. So the buildup that's the part that kind of feels different about week one. No, in terms of, you know, anything can happen, Coach, right? Week one? There you go.
Just got to be prepared for everything.
Sorry, your team passed your last question. They're 18.4 yards per game last season, which ranked 8th nationally among the country. I was just wondering, how do you make sure your offense keeps up that aerial attack and the potency of it?
Yeah, I think it's really important that we stay balanced, that we can do both run and pass. I think the numbers will be there if that's important. But I really liked what our team's done in terms of offseason, you know, really focus on being balanced, being able to do, you know, hopefully whatever we'd like to do, whatever schemes that we think are going to work the best, we can do all of them. So trying to stay balanced, yeah.
All right, that's our time.
Thank you.